Here with the lovely Miss Eden, my firstborn daughter, my oldest, who is now 17, just turned 17 last month. And together we're going to collaborate to answer the question that we've been asked in my Big Family Moms group about what about siblings sharing rooms in a big family? Because Eden has had a unique experience room sharing because everybody in this house shares a room, even me. Nobody has their own private room. We have 11 children right now. So my husband and I have obviously the master bedroom, and little baby Corey, who's just 7 weeks, she's in with us for a couple of months. Eden shares a room with her two younger sisters, and then we have 6 boys in the attic, and their little brother, who's 2, he's in our guest room right now, and he's going to bump up to the attic kind of once he outgrows his nap a little bit, his nap. So by the time he's 3, he's going up with the big boys, and all the boys are excited for little Nico to come join them because he's super cute. So this is our big family home right now. Everybody shares a room. And like I said, someone in my Big Family Moms group asked me, like, how do you guys do it? Because her daughter, who I believe is about 13 years old, shares a room with 2 younger siblings, and was just really struggling, feeling like her siblings were touching her stuff and it was causing stress and tension. And in any big family, when you have more kids than bedrooms, and the luxury of having a private bedroom, which is a luxury, kind of a very, like, historically it was only like royals maybe who historically have had a single private bedroom, because in the West, the average 3-bedroom townhome, yeah, you're going to exceed that super fast when you have more than 2 kids. And though the national average happens to be 1.4, most people assume that having a private bedroom is some kind of, like, you have to have it, or how could you possibly form into a normal, well-rounded human being? We all know that in a big family model, it's not going to happen that way, and there's going to be room sharing. And even though historically that's actually really normative, and there's been generations of people who've grown up perfectly fine, not only sharing a room, even sharing beds growing up, right? Just out of necessity and practicality, to stay warm, just to work with the space you have. Today, it's a good question because we look around our cultural landscape, we don't really have a lot of examples. But when we connect as big family moms with other big family moms, especially if they're a little bit further ahead in the road of life than us, we can learn a lot, get some encouragement, and maybe some practical advice that will really help us in our current situation. So this is such a good question asked in the group. I thought, I'm just going to chew alive on it. And I thought it would be so fun to bring Eden in to chat with us a little bit about her experience, since, like I said, it's been a unique one. So I'm going to kind of do like a quick informal interview, and you can hear a little bit from her. I'll add some commentary, and that'll be that. So here we go. So Miss Eden, I'm going to turn the floor to you. So would you please let our lovely viewers know a little bit of sort of the backstory of your room sharing experience growing up? Just the quick synopsis. What was it like from the time that you were even aware that you were sharing a room at all?
Yeah, so I've probably been sharing a room since I was 3, with all of my siblings. So basically, one of my siblings would get old enough and they'd eventually move into the boy room.
Mm-hmm.
And then a new baby would be born, and then they'd move in with me. So I just really had kids in my room all my life, basically.
And you're right, because Eden was followed by 6 brothers in a row, twins, and then 4 more boys in a row. It was 12 years until Eden had a little sister. And in fact, you remember, you'd pretty much given up hope. You're probably not going to have a sister.
Ever.
That's
Never.
Okay. But if I do, she knew the age gap wasn't going to be 2 years apart or something like that. But it was 12. She was 12 years old when God chose to bless us with Jubilee, whose name had rolled over 6 boys in a row. So yeah, we just put in, when the baby outgrew our room about 6 months, we put them into Eden's room because we only had a small home. We lived in a 3-bedroom, 900 square foot townhouse for the longest time, until this home, which we only moved into 6 years ago when we were well past starter family stage. So what it looked like was, the baby would go into Eden's room for a couple of years. And by the time they were about 2, 3 at the most, depending on their sort of sleep schedule, they'd merge into the boys' room. And then eventually the boys' room became pretty packed. In fact, there was a point just before our second daughter was born, when Eden was 12, that we had 6 boys living in 1 bedroom, a standard townhouse bedroom. And the way we did it was 2 bunk beds and a pack and play in between them, sort of wedged between the two. And then we took the closet doors off and put like a crib size mattress on the floor. So it was perfectly safe, but it was literally dormitory. There was a dresser in the hallway, no clothing in the bedroom. It was a bed room. So here's Miss Eden with the luxury of a private bedroom for all intents and purposes, because she knew it was always temporary. The little guy would leave, right? Yeah. So whatever. And she had all this space to like decorate. She had a dresser. She could put knickknacks and pictures and posters. Not so for the boys, but that's like another interview for another time, is talking to the boys about their room sharing experience. So maybe we'll do this in 2 parts. Wouldn't that be fun? Let me know in the comments if you'd like to hear from the boys, because I could see if the twins, or at least one of them, feels comfortable talking and sharing his unique experience, because I'm sure it's different than yours. So Eden, along comes Jubilee.
Yes.
And now she's never left. And she's 5 now.
Yes.
And who else joined the fray?
Well, I had another sister, so Gloria. And now I have another sister. So when she's not a baby, we'll have 4 girls in a room.
4 girls in a room. So what is it like right now? What's your arrangement right now?
I sleep with Jubilee. So we share like a bed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a double, so you can fit 2 people in it. And then Gloria has her wonderfully zipped up crib just shoved in the corner.
So she's got her sort of like a baby bed in the corner, and Jubilee and Eden share a bed, which works out good. We kind of tried the loft bed at one point, but it was really squeaky. And now that we have a ceiling fan in the room, it would actually be a nightmare. We'd have to take out the fan at the very least. So for the present time, because baby Corey is only a couple weeks old, it'll be at least a couple of years before she merges in with the girls to stay. So for right now, Eden, like, how do you feel sharing a bedroom with 2 little girls, a 5 and a 3-year-old?
Well,
like, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Let's be real.
What do I like about it? I like that because I'm in a room with them, I have so much time with them. Like, Eden is just the biggest, coolest, most awesome person in the world. And that's probably because I spend so much time with them.
Right. They do. Eden like has a lighter chore schedule because she's already worked her way through our annual chore system. She's mastered, how to mop a floor, how to make a meal, how to do the dishes. So she helps with the little girls in the morning and in the evening. So she takes these chunks of time where that's pretty much her chore. She helps the girls get dressed in the morning, and she helps them after supper put on their pajamas, and just sort of like keeps them out of our way while we're doing all our family chores. So they get a lot of one-on-one time together. And anything you don't like about it?
Well, it would be nice if I could like go in there in the afternoon, but we still have a napper in there, so that's not a thing.
Right.
Other than that, can't really think of anything. I mean, sometimes sleeping with Jubilee is a little painful, and I wake up with bruises because she kicks me.
It's ironic because Eden, when she was about 5 and would climb into our bed, she went through this phase of climbing in our bed like very early in the morning. And she's like this spread eagle sleeper, and she'd roll and thrash, and so it's kind of like, it goes around, comes around. So how do you make it work with your personal possessions? You used to have all this space. Yes. With a toddler who couldn't touch it really because they were kind of confined to their bed, and they really only went in there at certain times of day.
Yeah.
How does it work with your personal possessions? Do they touch your stuff? Do they mess with your stuff? Mm-hmm. How do you deal with your own sense of boundaries on your stuff?
For me, it's just being aware that if they can touch it, they will. So everything must be put up high, unless you're like, it's fine, they touch it. Like, I don't care.
Okay.
Like my personal, like my makeup and stuff, it has to be put really high, especially if it's glittery or sparkly, because then they're gonna want it even more because they're little girls.
Sure.
Like craft supplies, scissors, never leave scissors, or markers. It's terrible.
That's
it takes
right.
ages to clean.
Yeah.
So just like keeping stuff where they can't reach it.
Okay.
And so having like locked drawers that they cannot touch.
Okay. So we've made some provision for a sense of boundary, a sense of personal possessions, because in a big family, we have stuff we share, but we've also gone out of our way to give our kids a sense of private property. One, so they can learn, responsibility over their own things, and then just have a sense of like, we're not communists in this family. We are advocates of, freedoms, of basic freedoms of your self-responsibility and responsible for your own things, people respecting boundaries. So there are certain places in your own bedroom, if space permits, and it does in Eden's room. Or we also have what we call stuffed drawers, which are just in the other room in the office, kind of where we keep our homeschool and our business office and all that stuff. I've created spaces for the kids to have drawers, kind of like dresser size drawers where they can keep their stuff. So if you don't want to keep it in your bedroom, like what do we got in there? What kind of stuff do you?
Many pens, and
So
paper.
many pens and paper, and eventually it gets so heavy that the bottom of the drawer is breaking. So twice a year we'll do like a declutter in those drawers, but that's a declutter talk. So I've created spaces where the kids can have a sense of personal property, but it also has a cap, right? So it doesn't end up being stuff all over the place because they don't have a bedroom worth of space to fill. And I think that's great because it then allows them to develop a sense of like good management over space, right? Because there's only so much space, but when you have a whole house to fill, it can get crazy with clutter. Same thing with a room. But when you're confined to a certain limited space, that's a kind of side bonus of good life skill, good life prep. So hopefully that will go with you in your life and you'll appreciate the value of managing your things in your space really well. So if you were talking to maybe like a 13-year-old and they were lamenting and saying, oh, I have to share a room with like 2 other little kids and they're touching all my stuff and it's kind of stressing me out. And I don't know if I really like this big family stuff after all, because I'm feeling some of the, the rubbing against each other aspects of sharing rooms, sharing space, sharing our lives together as a big family. What's some advice off the top of your head that you might share with them to give them some practical advice and maybe a little bit of solidarity, some encouragement?
Yeah, I would say probably like talk to your parents about it because like they want to help you. And if you're like struggling, like you're actually like, this is stressing me out, I'm not doing well, then yeah, like talk to them. They're gonna want to like find a solution that works for everybody. Like maybe having separate times of the day where it's like you can go in for this hour and the room is entirely yours and the little kids can't go in there.
Right.
Or I don't know, something like that. Because, they have their nap time. And then maybe you could have your own like special time where it's like, I can do my painting project or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So just a little bit of a routine.
Yeah.
That's a really good suggestion. And I think do we do that? Like we already have that built into the day,
kind of,
right?
Yeah. I just walk in whenever.
Yeah. So Eden has hours of the day when she knows the girls aren't in there. And she can just enjoy some privacy, some space, because that's another big family reality is sometimes there's so much togetherness in the shared areas that it's good for us to have some places of retreat where we can be alone, especially if you're more introverted by nature and you need to recharge your batteries in more peace, more quiet, and having good, solid alone time. Though you're definitely more on the extrovert spectrum.
I'm really just going there to read.
And have a little bit of break from the little girls and have a sense that yes, it's our room, but it's also my room. Speaking of little girl, there's no more Paw Patrol, she tells us. Okay, honey, I'll fix it. I'm gonna pop upstairs and I'll get it fixed. Okay, see you in a bit. Bye. See if that works. Well, we're coming to the end of our time. So this is just a quick little talk with Eden about how we make it work in big family life, especially when it comes to sharing rooms with siblings in a big family. So if you're catching this and you're like, ooh, this is some good big family talk, I could use some more encouragement, some more advice in a big family model, then feel free to pop into my Big Family Moms group. There's a link in the description. You're more than welcome there. That's a great space for you to connect with other big family moms who might just be a little bit further ahead in the road of life and have encouragement, have practical advice. I'm very active in that space, so I love to connect with you there. And you also will get to know me a little bit better and other big family moms who are in the group. The group is growing by leaps and bounds. My goodness. So there's a lot of us. We might be across the world, not necessarily connected in our local communities. I know growing up, not growing up, but in my early years as a big family mom, I hardly knew anybody, honestly, who had a big family at all, who maybe wasn't a clone of me, but we had at least that one thing in common and we could encourage each other and I wouldn't feel so totally alone and guessing all the time as this big family mom life. So I'm so grateful that we can connect in this wild world of the internet in these wonderful places. Because I know sometimes Facebook can be like, hit and miss, but this is a really warm, wonderful space. People have remarked it's different in this community. It feels different. It's not just a mom forum with a whole bunch of debate. There's, clearly somebody who's guiding the way, but also this is a space for us to be together. So love to connect with you there and also share a little bit of my life and my wonderful children as we're doing this big family mom life together, going from struggling big family mom stuff that we all deal with to growing in grace. So that's it for today. I hope this has been a blessing to you. Look forward to reading your comments later, and I'll see you later because I've got to go put on Paw Patrol. Bye. Take care.